what are your next steps in planning this thing? Is it going after the educators? Is it the experience? Is it like, what are the next pieces of trying to plan the conference?
Well, as I said, we have a lot of submittals. Everybody has to submit a video. So talking about why, yes,
okay.
Right. So they submit a video and we ask them to say why they want to teach the class, what they think they can bring to the show. And you can learn a lot about somebody and maybe it's not 100% fair to judge them on that, but really that's all I can judge them on is just seeing, because photographers aren't always the best writers. So their descriptions don't necessarily say, what they're going to teach in a way that makes it sound like it should be a class, but people sometimes can talk better to it. So that's the next thing. And you go through every single one.
Yeah. So for those that are watching or listening that are thinking about being one of the educators, can you go into what you're specifically looking for and maybe how to stand out?
I can. First of all,
I'm asking the questions that I would want to know. Like,
what are you really thinking? Oh, it's a crapshoot. I just throw it down the steps and whatever lands on the top step. No, it's what I said before. Show me that you're going to teach something that when the students walk out the door, they can say, I can do that. That's going to help my business, or that's going to transition me from natural light to using flash, or, these are new poses that I can implement, in my business, those kinds of things. So that's what I'm really looking for. It has to be something that's educational and actionable. Actionable, I guess is the word. Really. So, and that's in all, we have 7 categories. So it's, it's hard. Well, we have an inspirational category, and that one's harder for me to choose from, because people oftentimes just want to talk about their journey. But that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to inspire someone. So that one's a little bit harder. It's definitely harder. I think last year we only had 1 or 2 of those. Probably have more this year. Predominantly right now I'm looking at business and marketing. I think that those are going to be the most important classes.
I agree with you that business and marketing are the 2 most critical pieces. I think those are always the most critical pieces for creatives, because as creatives, they generally want to think about the artist side, of the craft. They don't want to think about the business and the marketing side of it.
No.
But the lowest hanging fruit, and I would have to imagine that of the 500 plus submissions that you get, how many of them want to talk about lighting?
That's our second largest category.
So
but so wait, were you expecting a different answer?
No, because that's the lowest hanging fruit. Like, I would think that everybody wants to talk about, 10 different ways of lighting something like lighting.
They do. They absolutely do. Whether it's in the class or they're doing a photo walk, and it's, how to incorporate 1 flash, 2 flash, 3 flash. We get every variation of that. How to shoot natural light, how to shoot with light and make it look like it's natural light. It's every, but I think they're all important. They are because, it's, people need options, and they need to figure out what works best for them. So,
for sure.
Take a few classes on something that you may not have tried. And if it feels comfortable, that's great. And if not, then maybe you just go back to what you were doing before, and that's your comfort zone. But no, lighting is huge.
But if you are an educator and you do want to stand out, then I would say one of the other ways would be to submit on topics that might not be as broadly covered. Like, would you agree?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. To me, and correct me if I'm wrong, at some point there's going to be a finite number of lighting scenarios that people are going to be able to teach. Business and marketing is a little bit different. Everybody's got their own spin on marketing. And of course, talking about Facebook Lives and Insta stories and everything, that it's amazing to me how many photographers, that's their marketing. They're not doing paid marketing in other places. They're just doing it strictly on social media, and they're making a living, and they're doing, well. And then now I've had some submissions. So then you get into SEO and, how do you keyword, what you're putting out there so that it goes to the top of the list. So maybe you're even in your lighting class, how do you get it noticed before somebody else's lighting class? So all those things are really important to this is a great statistic. 93% of photographers are single business owners.
Interesting. So meaning that they're not in business with like their spouse or
like you
else.
are. Right. They list themselves as single business owners. There's a big study that comes out every year. It's called the IBIS report. And they just go through every piece of photography and how much people are making. And the Bureau of Labor Statistics does the same thing. If you look at their numbers, you would never become a photographer, because I think the average salary on their list is like $35,000
it is.
a year.
It's like 30 something thousand.
Yeah. It's just crazy. But when you're seeing the market change now too, because wedding now is only 8% of the photo market.
Yeah.
And, portrait has become, obviously it just gets broader and broader on what people are doing. It's a little hard to tell how wedding photographers are doing as far as, are they just doing weddings? Are they incorporating boudoir now for the bride? Or are they doing family shoots after, and you certainly would know a lot more about that than I would based on your business and what you all do. But, people are branching out. So I don't know who's just only doing weddings at this point. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to tell.